They won't be laughing probably 2 weeks from now. They won't be laughing
Yeah.
yeah, who can get this many followers and this many subscribers, man?
Yeah.
You got it, man. So they can laugh all they want. Adversity builds character, and you've overcome obstacle of public speaking, which people are afraid of and can't do. So like, I commend you for that, man. That's a hard thing to do.
It is.
I mean that. So like, I don't take that for granted. Being in a room with somebody of that caliber that has been through something, man. I can talk to you because you've been through something.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants to have a story, but to overcome that, man, that's a blessing.
Right.
That's a
And
blessing.
and everyone has their own different struggles too,
Yeah.
right? Like I had a really good childhood. Both my parents are still together. We grew up in the suburbs, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't have the struggles of maybe of like poverty, you know what I
Right.
mean? And like some different struggles that, you know, other people in the world like face. But, you know, just because you're born with maybe, you know, under a good family, that your struggles are different from everyone else's. You know what I mean? I had a lot more society struggles, like
Yeah.
growing up in like school and whatnot. And as I was like having the speech impediment and just kind of being a nerdier kid and just not really fitting in, you know, with
Yeah.
anyone.
Yeah, your burden doesn't define you.
Right.
Your flaws don't define you. One of our greatest patriarchs, Moses, had a speech impediment, and so like, don't ever think because your defects or something is enabling that's going to define your character.
Right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Moses had a speech impediment? That
Yes,
is so inspiring.
Moses had a
That's
severe
really
speech
inspiring.
impediment when God first summons him to go tell his people. That was one of his objections. He says, "I don't talk well." God says, "Take your brother Aaron with you, and he's going to be the spokesman." But like, even if you have gifts and a calling, like God will have a way to sustain you in a weakness, so it doesn't define you. I mean, I'm a flawed man. I mean, I'm a severe flawed man. You have no idea. But I know God is with me, and I know God is reigning on my life. And that's where the church makes error of presenting this pastor that he doesn't mess up. He doesn't make error, and he has these shortcomings. And now we embrace them and say, look what God can do when we have these shortcomings, and embrace it. I mean, I'm happy that you can embrace, like, I got this issue, but look at me now.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm actually proud of it. Like if I could get God grant me a wish is like, hey, I'm going to fix the speech impediment, I'd say no right now. It's like, it makes me who I am. I like being unique.
Yeah.
I like having
I love it.
I like being a different voice
Yeah.
now. What I was once embarrassed about, I'm now proud of.
Yeah.
And that's what you just got done hitting on the head, like
Yeah.
embracement.
And I gotta say a special thanks too to Gypsy for the connection,
Yep.
the introduction to you and to ask me. So she could have asked any other pastor to come, but she saw fit to have.
You know you're my fave.
Yeah.
You know you're my favorite person. Even though we fight and argue a lot, he's my favorite.
Well, she said you're not like most pastors. Here.
Oh, I
she says
mean-
you kind of got away with the ladies for a pastor.
I told you that.
The show has started.
Oh,
The show has
I
started.
told you that.
Wow,
Oh my
you just
God.
hold on. You just get right into
I
it.
did get right into it.
You
We
get, I
dive
love
deep.
that.
Yeah.
See, the lovely thing about these podcasts is they happen so organically. Like I was not expecting that, but
Yeah.
like so I have a rule of thumb. I was taught I came from a culture of a lot of just solid men. And
Yeah.
so my father, which was big time when I was a young boy, he didn't allow me to be in a house full of women. I have 3 older sisters and a mom. Parents are still married that live in Las Vegas, and he didn't want me to be taking on women tendencies or women behavior. So like when he would be gone traveling, I would have to be with my uncles or my granddad or a brother from the church, and so I took on a lot of mannerisms. I came from a culture where I shouldn't even be saying this; it'd be bad. I came from a culture where it was screw as many women as you can, and then when you get married, hide your phone.
Okay.
And it's like
then
that's wrong. And
keep
that goes
getting after it.
Yeah, keep going.
You're a
Like
crack up.
it was a positive thing to have multiple women. But I've changed my life, and I'm still reaping the repercussions for living that lifestyle. And so I'm telling guys, like, look, man, it's okay. We all struggle.
Yeah.
I don't.
What repercussions?
For instance, 2 weeks ago, we were at church, and a family was there, and a young, solid dude. So I have a thing of introducing myself to visitors. And so a guy was sold on the church. He was there with his wife, 2 kids. And then after it was over, the wife was like, man, I like this. So she goes, hey, we want to invite you over. And I'm like, well, no, how about I take you guys out to eat now? And then she's like, well, you guys. And she kept saying, you guys over. And she's like, well, you and your wife should come. And I told her I don't have no wife. And she looked at her husband and was just like, we're not coming back here. This dude right here ain't even got no wife. So like dealing with that kind of stuff as a leader, as a pastor, thinking like, okay, you have everything and I'm missing that main piece of a wife or a companion. So it's like that's the deficit it puts me in, but it gives me good avenues to relate to people that are single. And,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't really give marital advice, so I refer to other churches that are helping.
Well, if you had a wife, you wouldn't be able to go and watch with me because she'd be like, "Why are you hanging out with her?"
Okay, we don't. All right,
You know what I mean? You have to deal with drama. So it's a perfect situation.
Right, huh?
Well, I want to pick your brain at. So, do you believe what's your opinion on just monogamous people? Do you believe? So, I was thinking about it, and me and my friends have talked about it a lot. As humans, I don't believe we're necessarily supposed to be monogamous, but we learned that it's better that way, mainly for kids and mainly just to create a family. You know what I mean? Because so many people, they get in these long-term relationships, they usually someone ends up cheating eventually. Well, like you said you grew up in a culture where it's bang as many women as you can.
Maybe not
a culture is the wrong word, but that's that was your environment, right? That was kind of like influence on you from your peers and whatnot.
And I struggle with beautiful women, and so
we all do.
Yeah. So to answer your question, is that a goal? That's our more is to be monogamous, one-on-one, mono and mono. That's where we get the word mono and mono comes from. One-on-one. Monogamous, for anybody that doesn't know what we mean by monogamous, meaning one person in a relationship. I think it's healthy with the right elements, with good communication, good understanding, good goals, morals, ambitions, mindsets, and all these things have to coincide with each other to build on that. What I think tends to happen in our everyday society, America has become this very narcissistic nation. Everything's I, me. It's me, like me, I, me, I. It's for me, me.
What can the world do for me, not what can I do for the world?
Right. And we've taken on that behavior in our relationship. And so what happens now, people don't deal with adversity well. And you get to a conjunction of, hey, I'm disappointed in your behavior to your spouse. The normal response is, well, fine, go. Like if you take a woman that you have high interest in and you guys are building, and then you come to the breaking point, like, okay, the relationship has to go to the next level, and now I got to tell you what's distasteful, things that will enable us in the future. This is the response that I've experienced, and I read about, and I talk to other guys, and I seek counsel about. Normally, with a more attractive woman, if you tell her her flaws and where her shortcomings are, her response is, well, fine, go.
Yeah.
Well, and I just ask people just to consider, is there any truth in what I'm saying before there's any offense taken?